Alright there guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. And today we're back with Storytime. In the first episode of Storytime I talked about how I made singing videos on Facebook for my school and how a lot of people were super fake about it because I knew no one actually liked it. They were all super fake, pretending to like it to try and make me think I'm good, which I know I'm not. And for today's second episode of Storytime, this is going to be about the time I went to Old Trafford, the stadium of Manchester United. The date was March 23rd, 2008. It was Manchester United against Liverpool, and it was snowing, funnily enough, when we set off to go to Manchester. I was only 7 years old at the time, and United were firmly in a title race with Chelsea. And I'd never been to watch a football match at the stadium before, ever. This was my first and so far only experience ever going to a football stadium to watch a match. And I had a 2008 Manchester United kit with Ronaldo on the back, because of course you would, he's the GOAT. If you don't know what GOAT stands for, it means greatest of all time, because he just is. He's one of United's GOATs, he's one of Real Madrid's GOATs, and he probably won't be one of Juventus's GOATs because he won't be there long enough. So, I can't remember what I had for dinner, or even what my dad had for dinner, but he did leave about half of his. For some reason, that's always something we both always remember about that trip. Then we finally made it into the stadium, and from what I can remember, the atmosphere was amazing, as you'd expect at Old Trafford, with it being the most, in terms of attendance every week, the most attended stadium in the Premier League every week, higher than any other stadium's attendance. Well, really, no stadium other than Old Trafford has had 70k people and above in attendance at it for a Premier League game. Maybe other stadiums have for neutral ground games, but not the Premier League. So, you know, United needed a big win here to keep their title push going, instead to stay ahead of Chelsea. And for the first 30 minutes, it was more of a calmer atmosphere. There wasn't really any big chances until we hit the 35th minute, where the cross comes in from Rooney, and then it hits Wes Brown on the back and goes in. 10 minutes before half-time, United won, Liverpool 0. As soon as that goal went in, the stadium certainly kicked up a notch. The atmosphere, the noise, everything just kicked up a notch when that first goal went in. And unfortunately, being as small as I was, every time a goal went in, the people in front of me jumped up and I couldn't see it. So I didn't actually get to see the ball hit the back of the net in any of the matches because of how small I was. I mean, remember, I was only 7 years old at the time. Then we have the arguably what the most celebrated thing in the entire match, and it wasn't any of the goals. It was Javier Mascherano getting sent off. He'd been booked already, and Torres got booked for Liverpool. I mean, if you got any OGs will remember Fernando Torres at Liverpool. He was on another level when he was at Liverpool, but once he joined Chelsea in January of 2011, his career took a pretty big drastic downward spiral. Although he did win the Champions League with Chelsea and the Europa League, so it wasn't all bad for him. And the referee had had enough of Mascherano's dissent and gave him a second yellow card and gave him a red to send him off. Liverpool were down to 10 men. Then we get to the second half. Nothing massive in the second half happens until the last 10 minutes. It's a corner to United. The ball is whipped in. Pepe Reina is coming out for it. But Ronaldo arrives first, gets in front of Pepe Reina and heads it in to make it 2-0. So I can officially say I have been at Old Trafford when Cristiano Ronaldo scored a goal. And not only that, that was his first ever goal against Liverpool. Since then he scored one more for United in the season after. Just a shame that Liverpool won 4-1 at Old Trafford in that match. He scored against Liverpool for Real Madrid. Most recognisably in the 14-15 season when Liverpool finally made it back into the Champions League, only to get smashed 3-0 by Real Madrid at Anfield. And that looked to be at 80 minutes, 2-0 to United, game done. United are heading out with all 3 points. But no, they were not finished there, as United's other Portuguese maestro, who was with Ronaldo, Nani, made it 3-0 just 2 minutes later and did his classic somersault celebrations, where he did a twisting front flip. How he was able to succeed every single time with those celebrations and never fall and hurt himself, I'll never know, but there were some great celebrations. And I do miss seeing them, since no one in the Premier League really does celebrations quite like that anymore. Probably for health and safety. But Nani made it 3-0 to United with 8 minutes to go. The game was done. United 3 goals ahead. Liverpool one man down. I think Liverpool did finish in the top 4 that season in the 07-08 season, but it wasn't in the top 2. It was I think they finished 4th. And what a match. One of the highlight matches of the season. If you don't know, Manchester United against Liverpool is the biggest match in English football history. The 2 most successful clubs, Manchester United with 20 league titles across the First Division and then the Premier League, and Liverpool with 18 titles. Their last one, of course, being in 1990, which is why everyone makes the jokes to Liverpool, you haven't won a title in 30 years. Which they would have won it, they would have already been crowned champions by now, if the coronavirus hadn't happened. That's the only reason Liverpool have not been crowned Premier League champions for the 1920 season so far. But then the full-time whistle goes, Manchester United 3, Liverpool 0, goal scorers being Wes Brown, Cristiano Ronaldo and Luis Nani. United went on to win the Premier League and the Champions League that season. They also appeared in 2 of the next 3 Champions League finals after that, losing both of them to Barcelona. But in United and Alex Ferguson's defence, they were playing the greatest Barcelona side of all time. Xavi, Iniesta, Messi, Pedro when he was actually really good. Like, United were playing against the greatest Barcelona side of all time, managed by Pep Guardiola. United won the Premier League the season after, the one I went to. Then they won it again in 2011, and then we'll find one more in 2013, and they have not won the league since. So that is going to be it for today's story time. It's a shorter one than the first episode. Of course, we've only got one more episode to go because I've only really got one more story. But yeah, the atmosphere was booming throughout the entire match. The crowd's biggest cheer was, of course, when Mascherano was shown his red card. And tell me if you guys remember that game, or maybe coincidentally, you happen to be in the stadium at the same time as me. 23rd of March 2008. Funnily enough, that turned out to be Ash's 9th birthday. Of course, why would I have known that then? I know I only met her last year. But yeah, that is going to be it for this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Please be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel, follow me on my social medias, and next week, if everything falls into place, I've got a pretty exciting one. I've got an old series making a pretty big return to the channel, only as a placeholder, as it won't be here for the long run. But I think you'll be excited to see an old series that I thought we'd finished. But no, we're bringing it back for a tiny bit longer. But until next time, guys, catch you later.